Welcome back to this latest episode of Japan's Top Business Interviews. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President, Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training. My special guest today is Armel Cahierre. He is the founder and president of B4F. Okay, what's B4F? Tell us about that. What's this? It's an unusual company name. What is it about?
It's an unusual company name. The name was supposed to be Brands for France, Japan. Well,
Brands for France meant sending what, Japanese brands into France?
No, basically the name stems from the business. The business is what is called now. I mean, the name came afterwards, a flash sales business. So, in substance, we accumulate a database of people of France who register. It's a free membership, who become members on our website, and we have specific sales on brands every day.
Okay,
special
so
offers.
It's a type of membership.
It's a membership-based
And so,
business.
if I'm a member of B4F, I can get access to a number of brands. Special pricing, is that the idea?
Exactly.
So it's a real benefit to me to be a member.
It's a benefit to you to
If
become
I'm
a member.
interested in certain brands or all brands, how does that work?
We've been working with more than 5,000 brands.
Wow,
so,
fashion. This is all fashion.
Mostly fashion.
Mostly fashion, right?
Fashion, interior decoration.
5,000 fashion brands. That would probably cover most of the things I'm interested
it's
in.
almost
I would
everything.
Say. Pretty certain about that. I might have to talk to you about buying something later. But now, B4F is okay. So it's online.
It's online.
And it's in Japanese and French and English?
It's only in Japanese.
Only in Japanese. Okay.
So we only cater to Japanese
Okay.
residents, I would say, or Japanese people living in Japan. And we only source our brands from Japan. So if they are international brands, we source them from the official, I would say, distributor, dairiten, or subsidiary of the brand.
So it's not a grey market.
No grey market, no
market.
parallel import, just straight from the original place.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Let's talk a bit about that, because I know this is where you sort of finished up career-wise. You had a glorious career doing many other things before that, and we'll get to that very quickly.
So I hope my career is not finished, number one.
No. Well, I said finished up and not finished.
So far, yeah.
But, but, I mean, that's an interesting idea, that you saw a need for Japanese consumers to have access to a membership site where they could get hold of brands that they love in Japan at the right price. Where did this idea come from? Because, I've been here for a long time. That idea never occurred to me, but it occurred to you.
The idea came from, actually, the business model existed in Europe already and had started in the US and in France and the US originally. Most brands, luxury brands or premium brands, do not like to have their discount known to general public.
Yeah.
But the fashion industry being what it is, you have always 30 to 40% of the inventory you produce, which ends up not to being sold at the end of the season.
So 30 to 40% is
Most
left
of the
over.
time
That's
is
a
left
huge
over.
amount left over, isn't it?
So you have several aspects playing into that. Number one, the upcoming consciousness of not wasting. So I would say an ecological mindset. And then you have the brands just a pure financial mindset. It's cash, and they want to get money
Everyone loves a bargain, right?
They want to get their cash for what they've produced. And of course you have customers who are happy to enjoy that. So basically we're doing good for the planet, we're doing good for the finance of the company, and we're going good for the finance of the consumer.
So you're a type of, I'm going to think something like Gotemba, where you have a lot of premium brands out there with shops which are selling products.
It's exactly the same concept.
Yours is the same concept, but online.
Ours is online. Ours is limited, is members only. So Gotemba, anyone can go.
Anyone can go, yeah.
But in our case, only registered members can go. Anyone can register, but you need to be registered.
Yes.
And instead of being far away, we are just at the tip of your fingers. But only for a short period of time, 3 days only. So
3 days.
we do the limitation by the time, the time slot.
Nice. That's a real urgency.
So there is urgency, and there is also exclusivity, because if you miss it, you missed it, and no
Yeah.
one can remember it was there. Search engines cannot get into our system, so the prices of the
So only the members can see it.
yes.
So there's no competition apart from other members,
Yes.
basically.
So the brand is protected. It's very important for brands who invest a lot of money in advertising.
So, for example, do you actually buy the excess inventory from the brands and you hold it and then you sell it, or are you getting orders for excess inventory that they've got? Who's holding the stock here?
Most of the time, the brand still holds the stock.
Still holds the stock, so you don't need any warehousing or anything like that.
Well, we have a warehouse
you
to
do,
do
okay.
cross-dock shipping, etc. Because
Right.
we do ship to the final consumer,
Oh,
because
okay.
consumers are going to buy more than one brand.
Yes.
So there's a need for bundling orders.
Right.
So you're going
you
to
still
buy.
got the expense of
you're
shipping, handling,
Yeah.
warehousing.
Yes,
postage,
so
etc.,
you're going
yeah?
to buy a necktie from brand A, and then a jacket from brand B, and a shirt from brand C.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, or a pair of gloves, and then it would be wasteful to have 4 shipments.
I don't
so you
know.
put it
Are we
together.
able to talk about which brands are available to members? Are we able to?
absolutely,
Yeah. Well, like,
absolutely.
give me viewers an idea of what sort of brands we're talking about here.
I would say about any sports brands has been on our site.
Any sports brands.
That have, Adidas, Puma, and all these brands have been on our site. If I talk into fashion, women's fashion, we would range from Max Mara, Max & Co. I would say Italian fashion, any Japanese fashion brand has been there. Shoes, about the same thing. If I look at interior decoration, we've got very high-end brands to everyday life brands. So we focus on anything that has a brand, and any brand that could be sold in a department store. That is more or less our criteria.
So what about returns? I mean, for example, do you have often with this type of business, returns is a real bugbear because it's expensive and time-consuming. And you get people who buy online and they realize, I don't like it, fit doesn't work for me or something, they want to send it back. Is that a major issue in this business?
It is. Our policy is to accept returns if the reason is it doesn't fit me, which is a quite open reason, because we're not going to check if it fits the people or not.
There's a trust thing there, isn't it?
If there's a trust issue, and if someone has been purchasing from us like 20 times, we would accept almost about any return, even for a plate, if it which obviously fits any table. But so we do mostly accept returns. What we see is that the Japanese consumer is pretty honest, and so we don't get such a high rate of return. It's under 5%. It's about 3%, our rate of return.
2%.
About 3%.
3%. That's pretty low.
Which is very low, which is quite low compared. If you were in America, it would be in the high 20%, maybe 30%.
Wow, America. Ouch.
Germany would be even higher.
Oh, really? Okay.
Germany is the highest in the world right now.
Oh, really? Really? Interesting business. So let's thank you. That helps people understand the business model, which they may not be familiar with. And let's go back. Where did you start your career, and how did you get to a point where you're going to start, brands for France, in Japan as an idea? Where's the start of your career? Are you from the fashion business
Not at
originally?
all. Not at all.
Where
I
did you
am
start?
an engineer by training. Well, I studied math to start with, and then I became a civil engineer. Then I trained as an architect.
Oh, hang on a minute. Civil engineer to architecture, that's a pretty major transition.
Well, civil engineering is you do buildings,
Yes.
you build towers, you build bridges.
Yes.
So
On someone else's drawings.
yeah, but you make sure it holds and it's not going to fall apart. So if you know how to build something that doesn't fall apart, it's already a big step to become an architect. So I did that. At the same time, I was studying.
This is in France?
In France, economics. Then I came to Japan.
Why is that?
And
That's not a logical sequence. I became an engineer, moved into architecture, and I came to Japan. That does not flow as a logical sequence.
There's something.
What brought you here?
There's something very illogical in the beginning. In the middle is that at my time, we had a compulsory military service in France.
Ah, okay.
And you could have ways to transform it into a civil service. Had you done the adequate number of education, you had the proper education. And so I applied for that. I started my military service as a soldier, and then after 3 weeks could transfer to a civil service. And
so that first 3 weeks, was that basic training where you're running around with heavy things and running up and down,
40
climbing over
40
ropes
kilograms rucksack in the back.
3 weeks, that'd be enough,
and you
right?
have to crawl in the mud in Germany and and things like this. But
you're young in those days, so it's probably doable.
Yeah, 22 years
There's
old.
plenty of probably drinking afterwards as well to cope
and there
with all
is
the stress.
well, at the time, our stipend included a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of wine every week. Times have changed, but that was in our stipend. We had
Cahierre or something.
Yeah, we had a pack of Gauloises actually, and we could choose wine or beer actually, and that was part of the essential of the soldier.
Napoleon said an army marches on its stomach. So
it's true, and then. Of course, we were fed, but just for fun, we had that. So then I came here and I worked in the embassy, in the scientific service of the embassy.
As an architect?
No, as an engineer.
I was an engineer in the embassy.
As an engineer.
What on earth does an engineer do in an embassy? I used to be in the Australian embassy. I don't remember seeing any engineers floating around there.
I was in the scientific service. I had done actually a lot of math before, so I was more hired as I would say, mathematical engineer.
Oh, okay.
And I was transferred to a French company, seconded to a French company in the field of electronics named Thomson, which at the time...
Thomson?
Thomson, large electronics company.
They're no longer around, Thomson,
They are around under 8 different names, so they've been split up in so many ways.
The old name now,
so the name in itself is not there. I think there's one company now remaining in the US. I'm not even sure. So there was one part which was doing semiconductors, which turned into ST Micro. There's one part which was doing medical equipment, MRI, which is now GE Medical Systems.
Wow, okay.
There was one part which was doing military equipment, which is Thales.
Oh, okay.
Another one which was doing avionics, which is now Safran.
Oh.
There's another part which was doing TVs and which disappeared completely. And then there was white goods, so washing machine, dishwashers, etc. That does exist under another name. And then they had cables and telecommunications that went into Alcatel, which is now, I think, Lucent.
Thomson was the source of a lot of different
and it was a very large French group. It was the French electronical.
And did they have a big operation in Japan that you joined?
It was pretty big. Well, it was mostly a sourcing office. It was during the 80s. Japan was at the peak of the.
Was semiconductors at that time?
It was anything dealing with electronics, but Japan was leading the world in terms of electronics. So any electronics company needed to have an office here for joint projects with Japanese companies, sourcing of components, R&D office. So I was in the R&D office.
Oh, okay. For how many years did they have this? Your military service about 2 years?
It's supposed to be 1 year, but if you transfer to a civil service, you had to do. It ended up being 2 years.
So 2 years in the end, yeah. And that, so what age were you when you turned up here? You must have been early 20s, I guess.
Yeah, I was in my early 20s. I was 24, 25.
24, 25, right. So you finish at Thomson, then what happens?
Then I went back to Europe to do my MBA.
Okay.
I went to INSEAD. I don't know if you're familiar with the
INSEAD.
INSEAD, yes.
Yeah. I went to INSEAD.
Oh, you did?
Singapore.
Oh, you went to Singapore?
Did a course on sales leadership there.
Okay. So I did that. I did the MBA, the 1 year course in Fontainebleau. At the time,
you did the full MBA.
I did the full thing. I did the full thing for 1 year in Fontainebleau in France. At the time, Singapore was just a project. So it didn't exist yet.
Not serious there.
And then I joined, coming out, an Italian company, which was, at the time, the largest private company in Italy. called Gruppo Merloni. And
Group which one?
Merloni.
Merloni, Group Merloni.
Yeah, which was very big in white goods.
Okay.
And in anything that's related to heating equipment, air conditioning,
Right.
all these kind of appliances for the home or for the.
And that was based what, Milano? Is that?
It was not based in Milano, so I started as a controller, as an industrial controller,
Right.
so doing the finance of the factories, and we had many factories around Europe. And then the group was buying a lot of smaller companies. There was a bigger roll-up in Europe, and the group was very active. So I was sent to quite a few of them to do the work on the turnaround of
So you're moving around.
Then I moved around after being an
okay.
industrial controller for a few, I would say half a year. Then I was sent to do.
It's almost like an internal consultant, isn't it?
Yeah, but with actual authority and actual responsibility.
At what age?
27. My first CEO job was at 27. So they were very, very trusting.
I'm going to say that's pretty good. Your new CEO is here.
And actually, my career in that company was very good and was very much helped by my naivete.
Really? Okay. Why is that?
The company had bought a small company making boilers in France.
Mm-hmm.
And that company was completely... So I didn't know. They said, oh, Armel, you had an MBA, so you must be a manager. We have a company for you. We think it's going to be a great experience. You can start there. So I was all happy. I come with my suit. I arrived there. And once I get there, I'm welcomed by about a group of 80 workers with tools in their hands. And I realized that the Italian guy they had sent before had been kidnapped.
Oh, by who?
So by the workers.
Oh, by the workers.
And the company was completely 100% unionized with the Communist Union. And the mayor of the town was a communist. The region was a communist. I mean, I don't know for Australians if it means anything, but and I'm there and I say, okay, I understand now why I've been sent here.
Why I'm sent here.
But very quickly I could speak to them and they could understand that I was actually like them, just an innocent employee. And I said, listen, I'm here to try to find a solution, and I can only find this solution with you. So I started telling them, okay, this is the situation that I have been told. Do you know it? Do you understand it? Or do you have a different version? Mm. And I realized that for about 20 or 30 years, none of them had known anything about the situation of the company, the management, etc.
For 20 or 30 years?
Yes, the company had started doing, it's very simple, making boilers with a different new technology, a German technology. And the German technology didn't work, so it means you had leaks.
Oh.
And every product, because the company had a very, very good reputation in France. It was 150 years, so like the Rolls Royce of the boiler. That's what the Italian people told me. It's the Rolls Royce of the boiler in Europe. So I'm there, heady to head the Rolls Royce of the boiler, and everything is leaking. It's a disaster. We had negative sales.
Wow.
It's a concept you do not learn in any business school, and you do not learn, I don't think many consultants know about it. We had more returns of products, plus we had to do the rework, fix it. So we had a full guarantee. The company being so good for so many years, they had a full guarantee on the work of the plumber or the electrician who would fix it, plus the product. And we had more returns than sales. So it was a disaster, a real disaster. So negative sales, it's not even negative profits, of course, but...
and did the workers understand that
they didn't know
that there were leaks and they had to be
They didn't
reworked?
know.
So they went to a different part of the company?
Yeah, they because they were told it's a better technology, so they said, oh, we do the better technology. They weren't sure, but they were not in charge, so... And And
Quite shocking if you're working there and you realise your product's not
and
very
they
good.
realized it was not good. So once I explained to them,
Oh.
they say, "Oh, we didn't know. Thank you for letting us know." And say, "Well, can you help me?" And they said, "Yeah." And I realized that, and I had this experience many times afterwards when I doing turnaround. That first, among all the French unions, I always love to have the Communist Union with me because they are the most motivated people for the common good.
Yeah.
So that's very important. They want to help. It's people who want to do something for the others. So having a mayor being the same Communist Party was also very good. And the region, they helped. In 3 months, we had turned around the company.
Wow.
They had found new jobs for other people.
No kidnapping needed.
No kidnapping needed.
Did the other guy ever get out?
The other guy had gone out already, and 3 months later we were profitable, and
Wow.
it's been going on. And it was only because of talking to people, trying to hear them.
You know, when I hear this story, I think to myself, if that had been a Japanese crew, I'm imagining this, right, making boilers, and there was a consistent problem with obviously the design with this technology, they'd be looking at some sort of Kaizen fix to that to, improve on the design, eliminate the defect, work up a workaround, or they'd be doing something to fix that fundamental problem. Is that what happened with these guys?
No. The main issue is that it was not obvious when it came out of the line of production. It's something that happened, a decay that happened about 3-4 years later. So it was almost impossible to know from a worker in the factory to know that this would happen.
But I mean, the people who were fixing the defects must have come across a consistent problem.
Yeah, but there were clients who said, "I'm not happy with the product." But 4 or 5 years later, and then the company started having problems, and that's when we came in actually. But it just happened everywhere. The problem was occurring like 4 or 5 years after installation. So it was just
the roller has broken down.
Yeah. It was some chemical reaction that was occurring slowly, and then.
Okay. So after that, after you got out of communist paradise, there,
no, that was this small company. Then I was sent to go turn around other companies. So I did.
They said, "Wow, this guy can turn around the most difficult place on the planet."
They gave me 7 companies to turn around.
Okay.
I had some,
which again, at a young age, is pretty unusual, isn't it? I mean,
they were I'm very thankful to these people how trusting they were. And so I had companies. I had one company in Italy, in Siena, next to
Siena. I've been to Siena. Beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
And one company in Naples, next to Naples. One company in Germany. One company in Switzerland. 2 other companies in France.
So you're seeing the world here.
So I was seeing very different cases every time, different interactions in terms. So it was mostly HR relations.
Oh, really? Okay.
Gaining the trust of the people in a very, I would say, it was Taylorism at its peak, the way these companies were organized. So they had people who had been thinking of the production environment very, very carefully, with a chronometer, how much this task should take. They had people, ergotherapeutic people, saying what is more easier for the worker, what is less tiring for the hand. So I think the key takeaway from that was that people were trying their best. And while they were trying their best, they were leading the company in the wrong direction, but everybody was trying their best, but so focused on small details that sometimes the big picture was going away, or forgetting what the market wanted, or things like this.
Interesting. And then you leave that company at some point?
I left that company at some point. Same thing again. It was another era. Now, if I tell that story, one day I was 30 at the time, and the boss of HR. It's a very large company in Italy, very, very large company. There were two brothers. One of them was president of the Confindustria, which is the Italian Cahierre, and the other one was a member of the government. So very prominent family. And the boss of HR comes one day and he says, Armel, And before he comes, I had been invited to several dinners in Italy a few times. And I was seated at the table with the president, the family, and there were kind of lots of people there. But anyway, after a few months, the HR director comes to me and says, Armel, we love you. You've done a great job in the company. It's great because you understand, the mindset of Italian people. You are very agile like us, etc. But also you're French, so you have this kind of a structure that the French have, we don't have, you understand. I don't know why the Italians love this kind of administration we have, because we hate it in France, but, and he says, but we have one big problem. We cannot give you any more promotion. And I say, well, why not, I say, no, I'm sorry, I have to tell you frankly, not until you're married.
What would you say?
Not until you're married.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that was.
This is like 18th century or something.
Yeah,
What's
so he said
on?
that, and
What's
I
this?
said, He says, yeah, because, come on, you're not married. We know any woman can turn your head. So we need a guy who is married and who has kids, and then we can trust him because he's going to be with us for many years because we trust the wife to make him work. And that was a very off the record.
Wow.
But that was 30 years ago. And
I'm
at the time...
It's only 30 years ago.
Only
That's
30 years ago.
30
And at
years
the
ago.
time, it felt a bit odd, but not completely outrageous. I was not shocked, saying, "Oh, this is incredible," or
looking for stability,
I understand.
Longevity, invest in this guy. He's going to stay.
I understand what they meant. I was not.
Did they have any women in mind for you? Any lined up any?
That was the dinners before.
Oh,
I realized afterwards.
Wow.
But at the time, I was completely clueless. Clueless. So anyway, that's a
And
funny.
did they find you a wife in the end?
Well, they tried, but
They tried. They
was,
did their best.
Interesting. But that's anecdotal. But
That's amazing.
It's just, I think it's quite interesting to remember those stories when we see where we are now with this wokeism or DEI, all these initiatives, and what was before.
Yeah.
And it's not like they were not promoting women, so it's completely different. Women had good careers in those companies. It was mostly on, we want stable people, and we understand that the family setup of each person, there is a strong correlation between the stability at home and the stability in the company, in the workplace. So that was interesting. Yes.
Very interesting. And so what happens? You
so
obviously...
I moved, and I had a friend in the US who said, "Hey, I know these guys, these people in the US. They have a very interesting consulting company. They're looking for someone to open their office in Europe. Maybe you should meet them." So I met them, and it's true at the time they had a very interesting technology, which also now sounds completely obsolete. They were the first people to have a semantic analysis, a speech semantic analysis. So if you do market research, you have two main ways of doing it. Either you do a poll, an enquête in Japan, and it's closed-end questions. So A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or yes, no, I prefer the blue or the red, or etc. Or you have qualitative thing, which usually takes the format of a face-to-face interview or a focus group. But these people had done the first software of semantic analysis where you could just have a free conversation with people. They'd plug that into a computer, they would say, "Oh, red came up a lot, or comfortable came up a lot, etc." And then that was a very, very powerful tool to do marketing. So I thought it was quite interesting. So I started the office in Europe, and we started developing a very, very impressive list of clients, starting from Apple, Chanel, PepsiCo,
Wow.
and
brand
so
names.
on and so forth, all the big brand names. And we could develop new products. We could really get to the core of what people say, what they, and we also understood what people feel, and what people mean is not necessarily what they say. It's like
Can differentiate between.
differentiate. I
okay,
mean,
yes.
it's.
So was it able to read emotion as well as speech pattern?
No, but you are comparing actions with thoughts. The typical example would be to ask a 40-year-old man, how would you choose your car? And he would say, well, it needs to be safe for my kids, comfortable for my wife. And then you take him to the parking lot and he chooses the red car.
Sports car.
Yeah. So that's
Two-seater.
so
Kids
that
with
was
the
So that was the shortcut, a short explanation on how we said that. So of course this kind of we called it where is the red car?
That's interesting.
And so that was a very interesting company. I learned
And you
a
say
lot.
that technology is obsolete today.
Yeah, because with AI or with
I would have just thought they would have moved to the
well,
AI way of doing things.
now
right?
it's
No?
moved. Yeah, but it's transformed into new technology.
It's still the ideas conceptually
but
still
then
required, right?
Yeah, still. And the concept is still very powerful. I mean, we were testing car design, for instance, and what we would do, we would benchmark several designers. And we would, let's say, four designers, and we tell them, each of them design us a car that exudes the concept of comfort, or speed, or safety, or reliability, or whatever. And each of them, we would ask those questions, and then we would show that to people, to respondents. And then we would see who was the most in sync with the people. So this guy knows how to translate reliability very well according to people, whereas this guy, he knows how to show speed. So it was very interesting. So you could understand which designer was the. It was not even a question of good or bad, but which one was most in sync with the general public for such concept, who could express comfort in the way people felt it the best. So that was a very, very powerful. So we did lots. I mean, we worked with almost 7 car brands on this concept to develop cars. That was very, very fun.
Very interesting.
We went from,
So
different
are
industry.
we enjoying the products of your design company's preferences as a result today? That actually turned into a best-selling
it's a long
cars or
time
something?
ago. It's a long time ago, but yes, many brands have been doing that.
And what happened after that?
And after that, we had one client, which was a private equity firm, who said, hey, we would like to do these studies, and we have this company, we don't know how to sell it. Can you study it and give us a report on it? And I made a report. And then they came in and say, would you like to take it for you, this company? It's for sale. And we introduce you to someone who can finance you. And I thought, why not?
Why not?
And then I jumped and I bought this company.
What was the business?
It was a business of ski goggles and sunglasses. So it was very, very small business. But so I moved in the French mountains next to Geneva, on the Swiss border, and ran that, developed it. It was a turnaround in the beginning, but could develop it. And then sold it back to an Italian concern again. So then I joined this Italian company, which was in the eyewear industry. Joined their, I would say, executive committee, The company got listed in Milan, and then we were signing lots of licenses in the fashion industry, etc. So that was really my first encounter with it. I had worked with Chanel a lot in the previous marketing company, but not in the fashion side. It was more the perfume side. And so I worked in this Italian eyewear company, which was having the licenses of Dolce & Gabbana, all these brands, and discovering a completely different world of.
So were these branded for them as a brand? It came out with their name on it, or they were buying your branded?
So they bought this company bought my company. And we created a sports division.
Oh, I see. So it came under their brand.
The brand was kept.
Oh, the brand was kept.
Kept, but this company had many brands.
Brands, okay, right.
And then I joined the board on this general company, and then I was helping on basically the Western European market and on signing new licenses. So we're signing many designer brands.
So joining the company was part of selling the company, I guess. They wanted
I sold the company,
and you had to go with it for a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, get your money out. Right, fair enough.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And then how long were you doing that for?
I did that for 2 years
with fulfill your requirements.
To fulfill my requirements. And then my wife, being American at the time, wanted to go. We had young kids, so she wanted to go to America next to, so the children would know her parents. So we moved to California.
That doesn't sound like a hardship post. California sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but it's a very different environment, work environment. And there I just did a bit of consulting. I had two friends who were there, and we grouped together and we did a small consulting firm. We're mostly doing pre and post M&A, I would say interim management, transition management. And at the time there was, I don't know if you've heard of Vivendi. Vivendi was a very
Vivendi?
Vivendi.
Yes.
And Vivendi was collapsing.
Yes.
They had bought, 700 companies or incredible M&A activity.
Yeah.
And they were just dismantling the whole thing. And based out of LA, there was, we had every 2 weeks about, can you help us with this, make a plan on how this company could go independent from this big group. So we basically had only one client, and we were very busy for 3 years doing that. And so basically, the South California market is a bit specific. It's provincial, and but you have quite a few people with money, and where the money came from is sometimes unclear. But or I wouldn't say it's not necessarily bad, but sometimes they want to give a meaning to their money, and they want to acquire companies. And so the Vivendi portfolio was fantastic for this, because you had these small PE firms who wanted to put something in it. So we're helping them, figure out what this company could be on a standalone basis, and what kind of business they had, etc., and how they could grow it. So that was the business. But after 4 or 5 years doing that, and that was more a family thing, my wife first received a job offer to come to Japan. She's a banker. And it was maybe a Tuesday, or maybe a Monday, Tuesday, I don't remember. And then she started saying, God, there's this offer from my former boss 10 years ago. He'd like me to come to Japan. It's a very interesting offer. What do you think? I said, let's consider it. And then 2 days later, I received a call from a headhunter in Zurich telling me, are you interested in a job in Japan?
Unbelievable.
Same week. So it's Ume at its peak. So we thought,
that's fate right there.
A real fate. And we thought, okay, let's
go.
let's go. I mean, it's fate. Don't go against fate.
We've got 2 jobs here in Japan.
Yeah, we've got two
Telling
jobs.
us that.
2 jobs for the price of one. I mean, so
Incredible.
I went to the interviews and got the job, and actually I opened up and I got actually 3 jobs, and I chose this company, and the company I chose was this to become president of this eyewear company, a chain of stores here, largest chain in Asia and in Japan, named Parimiki.
Very famous here.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Parimiki is number 1 on the market. It was number 2 in the world at the time, with more than 1,000 stores here, retailers here.
Wow, that's big.
And somehow they had heard of what I had done with my small eyewear company in France, and they had liked it, and they thought it was interesting, innovative. I had repatriated all production, done it in a different way, and they thought it was interesting. So they asked me to come and manage the company, which I did, and I did that for about 3 years, and then the company was listed. There was a chairman who was a co-founder with his father, but he was getting very old, and it was getting a bit of a complicated story. The company was doing fine, but and then I was approached by a PE firm named Cerberus, and I thought, okay, maybe I should work with those people. There's more future, which I did. And I had maybe the best experiences. I worked with the smartest, most intelligent, and nicest people I have ever worked in my life. I have to say that very.
That's not normally the PE firm's reputation, right?
It's not the reputation of those firms, but I have to say that about them. We got a deal done, but the same day the Lehman shock occurred. So everything had to be
15th
folded.
of September. 2008.
And exactly the same day. And then so we signed and unsigned within 24 hours.
Wow.
And then after that, there was obviously not much to do. Cerberus was needed to have the help of Congress in the US, and hence was not, I mean, I'm not sure it's completely forbidden, or it was not well perceived if while you receive funds from the US government, you still invest overseas. So they decided to stop investing in operations, at least in Japan at the time. So I had to do something else. And then I decided, well, let me do something where I don't depend on anyone. And I created my company, and hence you're back to B4F. So I'm sorry for it's a long story.
But that's where were the basis for, B4F came about.
So that came. I thought, okay, let me try something that doesn't
So you saw a
exist.
model in Europe and the States, you thought we could use this in Japan, let's start it. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Leading is easy. Getting people to follow is the hard part. That is a great quote from Yogi Berra. Surprisingly, despite the complexities of leading here in Japan, everyone has to work it out by themselves. Foreign leaders want practical, applicable, expert advice. This is now available for the first time in history. Grab your copy of Japan Leadership Mastery on Amazon today and avoid the mystery, trial and error, especially the errors.
Maybe I should have done more study. I could have picked other business model, maybe which have been more successful, but this one was good enough. So.
Well, it's always hard, isn't it? You don't know these things.
You don't know
get into
until,
it, right?
yes.
It's like the training business. On the outside, training business looks very simple. But people don't realize there are many, many moving parts inside a training company, which makes it very, very complex and not easy at all as a business, is what I discovered after getting into it. But before I got into it, naive, as you said before, That's a good word, French word.
Yeah.
And we brought that into English thanks to the Norman invasion. And so, complicated. But let's think a bit about your experience in Japan. You, Mickey, Paris Mickey, and then also your own company. What have you found worked well to get people to be engaged, to follow you as the leader in Japan?
I'm not sure I'm a good example myself, but I can think of, to me, one of the best books I've read on the topic, which has been written by actually a friend of mine who is my successor as the helm of the French Chamber of Commerce, Jérôme Souchon. Maybe you know him.
Oh, yes, I've read the book, Target.
Your Target.
It's a great book.
And what I find great in his book is, so of course he explains it in a very interesting philosophical way of Kyudo, the art of archery. I mean, Japanese archery to business. And the art of Japanese archery is basically, in one sentence, if you have the proper movement and the proper shape and the proper attitude, you don't need to aim the target. The target will attract the arrow. And so, of course, that's I would say the poetic way of saying it. But
Jérôme is one of the most innovative leaders
so he's
that I have met here in terms of his ability to see things that other people don't see, and then his ability to execute on those things at scale and speed. He stands out for me as a leader. He really stands out. He's been a guest on this podcast too, by the way.
Oh, he has.
He has. Did a fantastic interview.
So Jérôme is. I've known Jérôme. We did our military service here together. Actually,
you did your
military service here
40
years ago. We were here. Yes. I've known him for 40 years, more than 40 years. Yeah. And but we never know each other in business. I mean, we never spoke business.
No.
I've only realized maybe in the 5 last years that after 35 years what he was actually doing. and he's been, as you say, one of the most innovative, businessmen here in Japan. But what he explains very well in his book, and I think which could be a lesson to, especially to most Anglo-Saxon companies coming to Japan, where the management style is mostly giving targets, KPIs, very dry, and you do it, you get a bonus, you get go bonus, etc. And many of these companies come here, try to do that, and they realize that their employees become completely frozen in front of an objective. Number two, the more money you offer them, the less interested they are, and then you feel, but what am I doing? What's wrong with those people, etc. And the truth is, what I think Jérôme explains in his book very well, is that it's not about the target. It's about focusing people on a series of processes. And if people have to focus on one process and refine it, I mean, doing Kaizen, etc., and those processes, of course, are synced together, then the result is obviously very good. And that's what he's explaining. I don't know him. So, of course, there are some KPIs. But it's KPIs, it's process KPIs and not performance KPIs. And I think that's the key point about managing a Japanese team, which is the most different from other cultures, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. And in terms of getting ideas from the teams, you said at the beginning in your discussion that when you headed into communist utopia in Italy, with the leaking rolls.
It was in France, actually. The company was in France.
Oh, it was in France.
But no problem. But they had the same issue in Italy.
Utopia in France with the leaking Rolls-Royce boilers. You said to the team, help me. And you asked them to help you, and you made that point. In terms of what have you learned in Japan that works well to get help, particularly on ideas from the team? Because often you mentioned that the workers were disconnected from the process, what they were doing and what was going on with the company and the negative sales, and none of that was in sync for them until you sort of brought that to their attention and things turned around. But if you think about in Japan, what has worked well to get ideas from your teams to help you to do the work? Or to help the company get the work done, I should say.
I think here it's not as straightforward as it would be, let's say, as I experienced in France, when say, please help me, and people say, why should I help you? Or here's the situation, and if you had that, would you do in my place? And or if this situation occurred at home, what would you say? And etc. And you get all sorts of replies, but you get replies right away. I think in Japan it takes more time to get those replies right away, because people are more on the defensive, saying, well, maybe not, maybe I don't want to stick out too much, because so far my experience, if I stick out, there's a
big hammer.
Yeah, there's a hammer
coming towards your head.
Yes. So.
And also, do they trust you?
And do they trust you, etc.
To open up to you, who may not know very well yet.
And there's also something that is, and once again, I haven't been working in France for the last 25 years now, so I can't speak very much for younger generations in Europe, but I find a very big gap between generations in Japan. I get along very well with the people of the Showa Jidai. Maybe because I'm a Showa Jidai person myself. And it's not because we have listened to the same music when we were young or whatever, but or maybe the education was the same. There are different layers in the Japanese society, which make it sometimes more difficult to comprehend. But and also there's a big difference between men and women, how men and women work. So if you understand this, I would say, inner Japanese society equilibrium and I would say how they work in themselves, then you can work it out. But I think first you need to figure out who does what, who has which role in the organization, and the older guy is not necessarily the one who's going to decide. As it would look in the beginning like it. Sometimes many decisions are made by younger women, but it's very carefully covered. But you can get involvement. You can. The equilibrium of bottom up and top down is still. I mean, there's a request for top down. What I found, where I could lose people in Japan, or lose them in terms of comprehension, or lose them in terms of interest in the work, is by giving them too much autonomy, too much authority. Many people felt frightened about that. Why am I so free? And it's been my management style
am I
has
scared
been
of being free, or am I scared of being accountable? Because with the freedom comes the accountability. Whereas if you, my boss, tell me what to do, I'll do it, and you keep the accountability. If it screws up, that's your fault, and I'm free at home. So, but if I'm free, I'm also accountable, and I'm not sure I want to take that risk of accountability. I think, isn't that the issue in Japan?
This is the issue, that people really very often take any part of freedom, they think there must be some accountability with it, even if it's not the case. Traditionally, I think that the boss should take accountability anyway, and if the blame is to be taken, it's to the boss, and if the praise is to be given, it's to the employee. But and to the employee in front of everybody, if it's praise, and if it's a blame, well, in private, of course. That's.
Well,
the basics, I hope.
Hopefully that's the case with everybody. If they're not, please take note of that.
Yes.
Praise in public is acceptable. Even praise in public, though, in Japan, it's really, that's again, isn't it? It's not a blank sheet there, because sometimes people do not want to be singled out for praise in front of others. They want to be part of the group. So you praise the group in public and then maybe praise the person over lunch in private, even with some people, not everybody.
Yeah, no,
Not everybody, because the classic is the top salespeople, get them up the front. Yeah, you got the prize.
No, that's not.
And people are like, I'm not.
No, I
I
don't
don't
want
go
to
up
be
there.
there.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All the
Yeah,
knives
yeah.
will come out.
Yeah.
You straighten my back. I don't want that to happen. So again,
It's like in school, the one who is in the front and says, "Yes, teacher, I know the answer." He gets
hammered on the
he gets
soccer
hammered
field
on the soccer field right
lunchtime,
after.
right?
Yes, but yes, I would say the bringing people together with one common objective needs to be carefully thought out. And defining the processes very carefully needs to be thought out, and don't imagine that the process will be figured out by the people themselves. There will be no adaptation. The utmost luxury for that is Italy, where everyone will find a solution. I mean, the joke is, why is there no design office in Italy? Because everyone has design sense. So, and I could see it on factories. If something didn't look right, people would fix it on the line. Whereas if something is not designed well, in Japan, it will be produced as per the requirement.
Product, exactly.
The defect has been carefully reproduced.
Defect in the sense of design, not
Of
defect
design,
in
of course.
quality. Yeah, that's a bit of it. Quality would be different, but design, essence or nuance or sensitivity would be a bit different.
I have actually an interesting case where when I was working in that PE firm, we are looking at buying a company, a big apparel company, which had in its portfolio had a big British brand in it, a very good image. And the British brand had their own production in England, but they also had in Japan a license agreement with the Japanese company that was producing. And so we were interviewing both sides, and both sides were complaining about the other. The Japanese saying, "Oh, the English quality is not good." To a French, it sounds atarimae, but sorry. And the Brits were saying, "The Japanese quality is not good."
Interesting.
And well, you're
We need
both
the French
blaming each other.
arbitrary,
No, or Americans with Americans, they say, you must not be talking about the same thing, because what do you mean by quality? And what the Japanese were saying, anything that comes from England, there's always a little loose thread here. The button is not well sewn, or
the finish is not perfect.
The lining is not perfect, etc., etc. Whereas the Brits were saying their design is dasai, their design is too old. They have not.
Haven't updated.
They haven't updated the design. It's the design that we would have done 5 years ago. Why do they still do that? That's not the right quality of design. And the others were saying not the right quality of finishing.
Finish. That's a perfect example, isn't it?
And they would go
across
purposes and having this completely parallel discussion without trying to go to what are you talking about.
Probably easier to fix the design part than the button and lining, stitching problem, I would imagine. But anyway.
Well, in the end, I mean, since it's a British brand, the best would be to have the design in England and the production here.
Yeah.
But you had other considerations. The legendary plant was in this place of England, Union, etc., etc. So you go back to these.
And what about trust? I mean, you've worked in Japan a long time. What things have you found work well to build trust with teams?
So my take is to trust people.
Yourself. So you start from your side with trust.
And how does that and
show
to me,
up?
it's a very simple. It's a very simple choice. I don't know if there was I don't know if you've heard of Pascal's bet. Pascal was this French philosopher and mathematician.
Pascal's bet.
Bet.
No, I don't think I
And
know
he was
Pascal's
asked to do you believe in God? He was asked a believer in God. And he says, well, and he was doing early statistics, so he was probabilities. He says, well, I have two ways of thinking of it. Either I can think very logically and I say, well, I have no way to know. So either I follow God's way, and if he exists, I win. And if he doesn't exist, I didn't lose much. Or either I don't follow God's way, and if he exists, I lose. And if he doesn't exist, I don't win anything because he doesn't exist. So it's better for me to follow his way. Like this, the odds are better for me. That was his, you go back about 400 years ago. And about the trust, it's the same thing. If you trust people, your life is very nice. Sometimes you get very disappointed. You get screwed, maybe you could say, put it that way. But you just move on. And you go. If you don't trust people, you're going to live in a life of paranoia. And then you're never happy.
What's the point of getting screwed? I mean,
I'm not saying screwed, but by being,
I know what you mean. I'm just thinking in terms of, is that, I would imagine, the likelihood of getting screwed in America, very high. The likelihood of getting screwed maybe in Europe, pretty high.
Pretty high.
Japan?
I wouldn't say screwed. It's more abandoned or more by negligence or by carelessness or by people didn't do their job or didn't think the extra mile.
In Japan? In
Japan. It's kind of a pervasive intellectual laziness.
Right. Okay.
So
we're talking about here about people who work for us not applying enough intellectual power to their jobs, and therefore the trust becomes a difficulty of having trust in people who are not doing that. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, because you're talking to people who something has happened, it becomes shogunai. In terms of saying, hey, there's a problem, what should we do? I take an initiative. Shogunai, and then so you have to take that into account. The intellectual laziness. A good example would be crossing the street only when the little man is green, which to any
jaywalking Australians would not.
For jaywalking South European finds it.
Why are we waiting?
Why wait? Because there is no car. Obviously, I can, and I save time. But I realized, and
although
I thought
in Germany that might be a bit of a problem.
Even in Germany, but in Japan, I thought they are very obedient. It's not obedience.
Okay.
It's just pure, I would say, either wisdom or laziness. You call it the way you want. The fact of having to bother looking, taking a risk, is not worth saving 2 minutes.
Right.
So I rather wait. I'm here. I'm at peace. I move there, and I don't have to think. So I am robotizing.
Don't have to make a judgment either.
Yes, I am robotizing myself. And which is, I think, very interesting for the future of Japan, when so many people have enjoyed working like a good robot. When you come in a society which is very advanced in terms of robots, what's going to happen to the people? So, of course, anyone can adapt. If you take history of labor relations before World War II, Japan was the place in the world with the shortest duration of employment in the world. People kept their job for 2 days. They were daily laborer, most of them. So they had never had a long lifetime employment. It was not an idea that
came later.
That came after the war. After the war.
And what about culture? Because you have in the companies you work for, you've got a sort of company culture. You've got a Japan culture, and if they're companies here, then they're probably going to be pretty much in sync. And then you've got Armel culture. You know, you run the companies as you like to run them, according to your view on how things should work around here. And I do the same here in my company. This company runs exactly how I want it to run because that's what I like. But it can't contradict Japanese culture, and it can't contradict the Dale Carnegie International brand culture either. It's got to fit within those things. But underneath that, day to day, there's a certain culture here that I create. What have you found works well to create a culture that you like as a leader in Japan?
I'm not sure I can say I created a culture. I'm saying I try to create a work environment that is in which I feel comfortable and in which people feel also comfortable and sometimes happy.
But how? How do you do that?
It has been very much giving them a lot of independence and showing that trust. And actually, people have come up, when there's a problem, they come up to me and say, hey, I have a problem, I have an issue. I don't know how to solve it. And I can lend an ear to everybody. And if I don't, I say, listen, solve this with that person. And that means find a solution between you guys and come up to me. And then they come up to me, and then maybe I have to review the solution they found. But at least they had time to think of it.
And you're giving them an opportunity to have ownership of the solution as well. As opposed to you being the decider of everything. And
our business model is very, very simple. So there are many ways. The fact that we do not do import is one thing. We got rid of a very simple, of a big hurdle. You know, we do not import products from overseas, so we don't have any issues of product not coming, customs issue, we don't have any foreign exchange issues. We only buy in yen and we sell in yen. All this has disappeared.
So
we take
always
a fixed commission, the same commission on whatever we do, the same margin, the same commission. In 99% of the cases, it's the same one. Exceptional cases happen, but I have to make a decision on this maybe 2-3 times a year, no more. It's very simple. So the business format is as simple as possible. And I think
that's on purpose, obviously.
Yes, it's on purpose, and it's on purpose as also it's a part of respect to the employees. I say you're free as possible within that framework. This framework is very simple, very easy. You can't forget any part, you know. It's easy to work, and people know. So there's a system, as they say, like you go in a Japanese bar, there's a system, 1,000 yen cover charge, plus you need to stay for 2 hours if you have one drink and something like that. So basically, or shotikubai, like the 3 menus, so I try to organize this as simply as possible. And I think that's what Jerome explains in his book as well. And that would be one recommendation to anyone trying to... It's a recommendation for anyone in any business, actually. But especially in Japan, if you want people to follow and give their best, they need to understand what's the system. What system? What are the rules of the game? What are we doing? Once it's there, then it's very easy for them to perform.
It's interesting, for Australians, it's like, how do we break the rules?
Oh yeah.
The fundamental mentality,
is to break the rules. But yes.
How can we break the rule, change the rule, overcome the rule, or delete the rule? What about taking that point, advice for people? Someone was sent here to Japan to run their organization in Japan. They ask you for advice on how to be an effective leader. What would you tell them?
Be clear with yourself. Know what you want to do. Know what you want to achieve. Know what kind of goals you have and strategy. First have a very clear mind of what are you here for. You cannot start telling people, "Oh, I cannot because head office told me that." That means you're useless. It means you're a loser if you do that. If you keep cover, so you need to be responsible. They are looking for a leader who is responsible, who can make the decision. They don't want to make the decision themselves, but they want to be behind someone who does that. and then that person should set out very simple, easy to understand goals. And I wouldn't buy anything, or in Japan we do this that way. You know, if someone comes from abroad and he says, I'm in an organization, people say, oh no, in Japan we don't do this, that. I say, maybe you have the wrong organization. You can start working on the organization. You say, that you should challenge. Japanese people are just like other people. They like good processes, but there is no specific way to do things in Japan. There's a lot of excuses that are made around the culture sometimes to cover up fear of change, or it's not even fear of change, it's laziness of change, or things like this, so that I wouldn't buy anything. But first it starts with yourself. What is my goal? What are we wanting to achieve? Share that with the people and say, what is the problem? I mean, do you see anything that makes it difficult? And how can we make it work? The issue about that point about, no, we don't do this way in Japan, or this is not the way Japan works, etc. Most of it didn't come from Japanese themselves, actually.
Oh, okay. Where is it coming from?
It came from a whole layer of Japanese consultants, Japanese specialists, and maybe I'm one of them, I don't know, but who say, no, in Japan you don't do this way. You need to bend like 74 degrees instead of 62 degrees when you say that. And you find that there has been a lot of people who made a very good business just trying to be these Japanese guru guides about that, but not really focusing on the business. And I think that came mostly from people who are just language people and culture people instead of being pure business people. And they just hang up on what they knew and not focusing on the business.
It's interesting, sort of manufacturing these issues.
Manufacturing, and just like a bit
cosmetic,
and just like Kyoto, you know, all the arts and craft. I mean, not the arts and craft, but these cultural stuff where you have all these layers of knowledge, you know, which is almost like multi-level marketing of I don't know, ikebana or tea ceremony or whatever. It's been it's when Kyoto
with money at every level.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And some foreigners have adapted that to their own trade, and so the poor guy who comes from America or from, oh yeah, I did a blunder. I didn't bend the right way. He didn't do any blunder. Apart from that consultant, no one saw it. So,
well, no one cares.
And no one cares. So it's Japanese employee is much more. They are much more similar to any employees in the world than what people say.
What other advice would you give them to be effective as a leader in Japan?
Be transparent.
Transparent. Mm-hmm.
Be transparent. Be transparent. Share your goals. Even do not worry the people, because I like to say that the French love to complain and the Japanese love to worry. So of course, people love to worry. So do not dismiss their worry. Share their worry, but explain to them that worrying doesn't bring any solution, has never helped anyone. So be beyond the worry and the acknowledgement of the source of the worry. Well, maybe we can move on and go. So it's more, I would say, same thing as you would do with a child who is worried about, I forgot my razor to go to school, and the teacher is not going to be happy. Okay, you're worried, that's fine, but the teacher maybe will not be.
Won't be a disaster.
It won't be a disaster afterwards.
What about AI in terms of how AI impacts leadership today? Because AI is with us. It's incredible, fast-moving, very competitive field. But we as leaders are dealing with this. What's any views on AI from a leader point of view? How do we?
But the first point is on AI is we always say where AI will replace, white collars. The robots or the machinery replace the blue collars, and AI will replace the white collar. Well, the ultimate white collar is the CEO. So when you think of promoting AI, well, understand that the AI will replace you as well. So you're not outside of the game. I think it's important to remember this. Then AI as a tool is fantastic. I would encourage anyone to train people to use AI, and it's just like any tools, IT tools. I would encourage companies to train their people. I see so many companies where people do not, they know basic functions of Excel, basic functions of PowerPoint, or things like this, because no company has invested in paying them the 2-day training. And they saved on that 2-day training because they say, they need to work during those 2 days. And you know what? They've lost hours and hours and weeks and months of productivity because these people do struggle around those tools. So I think AI is one of them as well, is train the people to use AI in a smart way. If they understand AI and know how to use it in a smart way, everyone will benefit from it, and they will understand where to use it and where not to use it, and know from where to keep their own judgment.
Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it, in terms of that. In terms of your definition of leadership, what would that be?
Same thing. I've seen companies where they say, we forbid AI. Just like you have universities who say, we forbid AI. And I had an experience about a year and a half ago. I was in Yotsuya, next in a Starbucks. And on my right and on my left were 2 young women, students of the University of Joshi Daigaku, which is
my old school.
Oh, is it?
I'm a graduate.
You went to Sofia.
Master's degree from Georgia, yeah.
And I saw them. One was working. I forgot. They had 2 different topics, and they were heavily using ChatGPT. Both of them. And I mean, I was there, looking right, looking left. I was a bit, had nothing to do. And actually realized that they were using it in a very smart way. They were learning from it. They were checking. So they were asking things. And they were actually using it in a way that with my generation, I wouldn't have thought of it. But they were like 20 years old, I guess. I don't know. And I had a good lesson there. I thought, they use it, and they are not becoming more dumb. No, they are actually empowering themselves with AI.
AI is a bit of a pain, because I remember I was writing a not complex but semi-complex email to a client, explaining about different courses and how it worked and blah 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 and pricing and whatever. And just before I sent it, I thought, well, I'll just run this thing through AI. Oh, he did a much better job. He did a much better job than me. I thought, oh my God, I'm out of a job. Look at this. AI can replace me here. It does a better email than I can write, or you write something for marketing and then you give it to AI and it comes back much better. You go, oh my God, this is a pain. It's doing a better job than I am on the marketing. What's my role around here anymore? As you said before, replacing the CEO, quite possibly. But Armel, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been a very, very interesting
discussion.
Very
nice of you to have me today.
I'm
sorry I spoke a lot about myself, but
it's fascinating. It's fascinating. A very fascinating career you've had. And join us again for our next episode of Japan's top business interviews.